Are you struggling to become successful? Have you ever wondered why is it taking you so long to reach the goals that you say that you want for your life? If that's you, then listen up because this video will support you in understanding why you are where you are and how you can move beyond that so you can get where you want to go. Let's go. So listen, I am your girl, Dr. Tanya Biglow, AKA your Coda Coach. And I'm helping individuals move from stuck to success because you don't have to stay in that mess. And most of the time we stay in the mess because we just don't know that there's a way out of it. So that's what we're talking about today. We're going to look at the conversation or have the conversation around answering the question of who am I? Now, who am I is a question that many people have asked themselves for years and years and years. And some people who have evolved may say, oh, that's a crazy question. You should know who you are. And for most people, they say, hey, I know who I am. Some people may answer the question and say, I am Dr. Tanya Biglow, AKA your Coda Coach. But the question is, what does that mean? So how do you identify yourself? How do you label yourself? See, when you ask the question of who am I, you're beginning to peek into the world of philosophy, psychology, and you're uncovering one of the age-old elements of self-awareness. That's where you're kind of flirting with when you start to ask the question of who am I? So self-awareness helps you do a plethora of things. And one of the main things that helps you to do is be more effective. So let's just pause real quick. There's a movie, there's a story about two sisters, right? And one sister, and they came from money, right? One sister was, the average sister. She looked up to the bigger sister, the older sister. The older sister was actually the princess. She happened to be the princess of a place called Arendelle. Most people know the story I'm talking about, and it's the story of Frozen. Well, Elsa and Anna, they loved each other, but the princess actually had more than just position. She was the princess because her mother and father had passed away, and it was coming up her coronation where she was going to become the queen. But when the story starts, she was the princess. Either way, she had the position. She had the position, but the other thing that she had was the power. Because Elsa had these magical powers that she could use, but she was always afraid to use her powers. Not only was she afraid to use her powers, she was also fearful of letting other people know of the gifts that she had. Now, we're going to pause right there because that's where a lot of you are in your life. You have these special gifts, and you know you have these special gifts. You've seen them in action before. You may have even had the thought, the mindset of, let me do something special with my gift. And in thinking about that, you allow all these other things to come up to stop you from operating from your gifts. So there's one thing that you are self-aware that you have the gifts. There's another thing that stops you from actually moving into your gift and operating in your gift. So let me share just a couple of things that happens when you become self-aware and you choose to move and operate in your gifts, right? One, you actually develop your skill. So if you look at the story of Frozen, once the princess was able to embrace the gift that she had, she was able to develop that, and she did some amazing things with her gifts. She was shooting the stuff all over the place. I don't want to, completely ruin the story just in case somebody's listening who has never seen the movie of Frozen. I highly recommend you watch it. But once she was able to take on the fact that she had these powers, she blossomed and her skills developed. She became self aware. And then she was honoring what she knew she had access to. You will also have the ability, once you become self aware, of knowing your strengths and weaknesses. See, once she knew what she had, she was able to play with it. Then she was able to see, oh, I'm strong in here. Oh, and I'm weak in these areas. This is for you. This is something for you. So when you become self-aware, it also helps you to develop this sense of intuition so you can make better decisions. Once Anna was able to embrace what she had and who she was able to save the land. She was able to do exactly what she needed to do in order to help the people of Arendelle. Another reason why it is so beneficial for you to become self-aware is that it decreases your stress. You literally stress less because you know your lane and you begin to operate in your lane. See, it's stressful when you're trying to operate in everybody else's lane and you don't know what you're doing. Stay in your lane, and when you know you're in your lane, that's when you are really self-aware, highly self-aware. People who operate from a sense of self-awareness also have a sense of motivation. You don't need these external forces to motivate you to get up and do exactly what it is that you already know to do. And even though it's difficult, even though it may be challenging, you are still motivated to get up and do it because you know the gift that you're operating in. And that leads to an element of leadership. Now, there's an element of leadership where you lead other people, but here we're talking about self-leadership, how you can actually motivate and move yourself into action. I like to call it self-accountability. So we're looking at self-awareness, answering the question of who am I? And if you go down and you jot all of these down and you look at, okay, well, what kind of leader am I? What motivates me? What kind of skills do I have? How do I make decisions? How can I develop my skills? Where am I strong at? Where am I weakest at? And so these are some of the key areas that you want to focus on when you're having that conversation, because these are things that will be effective in your life. Now, here are the key elements that you want to look at when you're answering or asking yourself this question, because human beings are very complex and diverse. So the more self-aware you are, the more you should understand the areas that we're going to talk about right now. Your personality type. Listen, you are who you are. Whether you're humorous, whether you're outgoing, whether you're kind of quiet, it doesn't matter. There's not one good, bad, or indifferent. The thing is knowing who you are and operating in the power thereof. So understanding your personality. How do you show up? Knowing your values. Hey, listen, if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. So being aware and conscious of what values you hold near and dear to you is very key in this word called self-awareness. What are your habits? What takes you out of the game? What puts you into the game? You need to know what you repeatedly do. And if there are things that you do, habits that you have that are disempowering, you may want to modify those. And if there are habits that you have that really put you at the peak of your game, you want to make sure that you focus on those. And then next, you want to know, and again, we're looking at our self-awareness, right? You want to know, what do you need? What are your needs in life? Now, we have some basic needs. If we look at, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we need food, we need shelter, we need love, we need all of those things, right? But what else do you need in order to feel complete, to feel whole, for self-esteem, for affection, for belongingness? What do you need to feel like you've achieved? What do you need to feel like you're empowered and that you have control over your life? Not necessarily control over others, but again, we're looking at ourselves. And then the next thing, which is most critical, and it's the one element that most of us don't look at, are our emotions. And our emotions are what keeps us stuck day in and day out, because we are willing to even accept the fact that we have emotions. I remember when I started the conversation, when I started to hear about this whole thing called emotions, in my mind, I'm like, I don't have that. Either I'm angry or I'm happy. Like all that other extra stuff, we don't do that. And I realized that I have a lot of emotions and they come and go easily and quickly. I just wonder, have you ever stopped to think what makes you happy? What makes you angry? What happens when you experience fear? What's going on when you experience hurt? And I mean hurt, not necessarily from scraping your knee or banging your toe or, you know, scraping your finger, but that internal hurt from the memories of the pain of things that happened in the past. What are those things? Because those are the key things that will take you out of the game. Okay. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We just want to talk a little bit about self-awareness and come to the understanding that if you're not making progress towards the goals that you set for yourself, you may want to stop and just put the mirror up and look at yourself and say, what's going on here internally with me? Who am I? What are my likes? What are my habits? What are my needs? And what are the emotions that are triggered that cause me not to take the steps that I need to take each and every day? I am truly honored to be here in the space today. I hope that something was said, a word was shared with you that will allow you to move beyond where you are. Definitely if where you are is not a place where you want to be, and go beyond that. And once you take those steps, it gets easier and easier and easier. Not necessarily because the load becomes lighter, but because you become activated and you build up a momentum to keep going. I am your girl, Dr. Tanya Bidlow, aka your color coach, helping you move from stuck to success because you don't have to stay in that mess. I want you to have a great day. And listen, I want you to have a great day on purpose because you deserve greatness because you are great. Have a great day.